Yo, what's going on, guys? It is Foxy298 here. Welcome back to a brand new video for you guys today here on the channel. And here we are for another episode of my F1 2019 career mode. We're here for the US Grand Prix round number 19, and we're getting ever closer now to the end of season 1. We, of course, have got USA, then we've got Brazil, and then obviously Abu Dhabi to come forth. But it's qualifying, and it's actually going to be a wet qualifying session, which is good for us. Because the AI suck in the wet. And as the time of recording this video, Codemasters have announced that in the next week or 2 weeks, there will be a patch for patch 1.5, making some adjustments to the performance of the cars and also fixing a few things, one of them being the AI's performance in the wet. So hopefully when that comes out, we'll be able to have some fun with the AIs a little bit more competitively. Into Q1, I actually had a great run here, but I closed up the sight so much that in the last corner, I outbroke myself because I didn't realize how early Carlos put on the brakes there. But yeah, I was a bit sort of like, oh, Christ, hello. He was getting closer than I thought. And as you can see there, I saw Charles Leclerc popped himself into P2. So with that, I decided not to run again, and there was no need. I knew that the track would evolve, but did I really need to go out for a second run on the Inters? Not really, no. So I just stayed out into the garage. Lando Norris, though, my teammate, all the way down in P18, which is an awful qualifying session for him. 3 seconds off the pace. But for myself, only 6/10 off, and it is Q1. It's Q2, though, and I actually wasn't paying attention to this. I was on my phone, actually. But I skipped all the way to the end of the session, and I was going to go out on a set of intermediates, but I saw that there was no rain falling, and the soft tyres were only 3 seconds slower on the Delta, and I knew by the time I got rounds that they would then become faster. So coming towards the start-finish line here, we crossed the line set at 1 minute 42.3, which eventually puts us pole position, or a fastest, in Q2, and manages to cement myself on through. However, though, not everyone got through. In fact, Charles Leclerc, Lewis Hamilton, Valtteri Bottas, and Max Verstappen all got knocked out in Q2 because they decided not to run on the soft tyres, whereas only man that got through on that was Sebastian Vettel. He was 5 seconds off the pace. Myself and Gasly, Lucas Weber in third, which was just crazy to see. But then into Q3, it's fully dry now, so there's going to be no form of excuses. We just need to see how high up we can get now on the grids here. Coming towards the last corner here, Vettel set the pace with a 1 minute 31.9. My best was a 1:32.8, but you can see the track managed to improve by 10 seconds from Q2 to Q3, which is quite interesting there. Unfortunately, though, my final lap here, you can see going very wide there, taking the MotoGP line. No, it wasn't the MotoGP, it was the IndyCar line. Yeah, I'm just doing the IndyCar run. Unfortunately, my lap time was just slow on the Delta. I tried my best to get as much more extra performance out of the car, and I pushed harder through that final sector because I was down on my Delta. But it wasn't enough in the end. It's going to be P3 for us, 1.1 seconds off of Sebastian Vettel's pole lap time. Gasly qualifies in second place ahead of myself. Then it is Devon Bulsack ahead of Sergio Perez. Lucas Weber with his best qualifying session of the season in the Toro Rosso in 6th ahead of Raikkonen, Grosjean, Magnussen, and Alexander Albon there. So Weber doing a fabulous job for Toro Rosso. It's the first time I've actually had to physically say his name, which is amazing. Of course I'm in third place. All I've got is Gasly and Vettel in front of me, and I've got a massive turn 1 to dive bomb the hell out of them.
Do you feel comfortable on the wet, or are you hoping the sun shines tomorrow?
Well, at the end of the day, there's 2 scenarios here. Number 1, I like it wet. Secondly, I am a ray of the sunshine, so
Appreciate your time.
you know, it is what it is. Anyway, thanks for that. So yeah, with that done and dusted then, you can see in terms of the rivalry, we're about to beat Lando Norris for the 20th time. Max Verstappen we're tying with now in the rivalry, which is kind of cool. So we're keeping up with him, which is awesome to see. Because, of course, our car is just going backwards at the moment because, of course, we're not upgrading anymore. So interesting that we can still keep up with the Red Bull, but I suppose not for much longer. Without further ado, guys, let's get straight into the race and see what happens at the US Grand Prix.
In 2012, America's on-again, off-again love affair with Formula One finally seemed to settle down with the completion of this wonderful racing facility here in Texas. Since then, we've been treated to some incredible races, including, of course, that classic wet-dry championship decider of 2015. We have 10 turns to the left and 10 to the right here at the fantastic Circuit of the Americas, overtaking opportunities into turn 1 and 12 at this anti-clockwise 3.6-mile track, and we should see average lap speeds of around 126 miles per hour. With me today is Anthony Davidson, a man who knows this circuit quite well. Why do you think, though, Ants, that this Grand Prix has now found such huge success since returning to the calendar in 2012?
Well, full credit to the race promoters. They have a Grand Prix in a part of the country famed for its love of motorsport, and they do a fantastic job of advertising it to the right crowd, and then satisfying them when they're here with excellent facilities. It also tends to help when the circuit itself is good, and that's definitely true here. The layout is interesting and it produces some exciting action. Hosting a thrilling title decider like we had in 2015 wouldn't hurt either, so the pressure's on then to maintain that kind of quality here today.
Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's race. Sebastian Vettel will start on pole. Fantastic qualifying from the multiple world champion, with Pierre Gasly alongside. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Thomas, Perez, Kimi Raikkonen and Grosjean, Magnussen, Albon, Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas, Verstappen, Butler, Nico Hülkenberg and Russell. Weber, they've taken a grid penalty. Sainz, Lando Norris and Antonio Giovinazzi. Kubica and Charles Leclerc completes today's grid order. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
Okay, so here we are then on the grid to start the US Grand Prix, and it's going to be a two-stop race for us. We're going to start on the soft tyres, move to two sets of medium tyres, and of course, because we qualified in Q2 on them. Vettel up front, though, does have that free choice of tyre, but for us, though, we're going to get ready for the 5 red lights, and here we are then, 5 red lights, and it is lights out. Here we go here to start the US Grand Prix. Good start from us initially. Sergio Perez also a great start there in the Renault cars. We go up in towards turn 1. Try and brake nice and late here, and I made contact there with Sebastian Vettel. That was my bad. I broke a little bit late. I didn't estimate where Vettel was in terms of the rear wing, but Sergio Perez has gone down the inside and he leads the US Grand Prix. Annoyingly, it is for me because I wanted that full inside line and Sergio took it from me, and look where he is. He's in the lead. So yeah, god damn you, Sergio. But he leads the Grand Prix ahead of Pierre Gasly. Then it's myself ahead of Kimi Raikkonen in the Alfa Romeo, and then it is Sebastian Vettel in the Ferrari, dropping down to 5th. Of course, Gasly was up his inside, I was up his inside, and so too was Perez. And then of course I sort of smacked him a bit, kind of. We'll pass away from that, because, of course, we don't want to talk about that anymore. But for us, though, we stay where we are. But for Perez, though, how is he in the lead of this Grand Prix? It's insane. But let's see what Gasly can do down the back straight then versus Sergio Perez. For myself, though, I've got Raikkonen closing up on the back of me here and in towards the hairpin. No way through for Kimi Raikkonen. We managed to maintain position against the flying Finn, and we are still in front. Vettel dropping down. Obviously, Seb, though, is on medium tyres, so he's going to have a much better time of things later on in the stint when our soft tyres go away later on. Because all of us that got into Q3 had to start on these soft tyres. Vettel, meanwhile, of course, was the only man that got through on inters, giving him that free choices. We go now through in towards here. I saw a camera there. I didn't like it, so I sort of ran it over a bit. And got a stupid corner cutting warning on lap 1, which means that I've only got 2 more now for the rest of the race, which is clever. But on the end of the first lap, though, we're a second shy of Pierre Gasly, who's right on the back of Sergio Perez. But it's quite concerning that both Perez and Gasly are already blitzing away from me here, as I've got Raikkonen on my back, though. On to lap 2 to finish our lap, actually, until I'll start lap 3. You can see that Gasly is literally hovering all over the back of Sergio Perez. For myself, though, starting to struggle a little bit on these soft tyres, and it's a common phase with me that I just don't feel super comfortable on these tyres. But we're going to put it up into rich mixture, though, here, as Raikkonen now starts to go a little bit defensive here, as I go now in towards the first corner here, and I've just felt a contact there. Vettel's gone and smashed the back of my car. Vettel's gone spinning around here at the US Grand Prix. That doesn't remind me of the time that Vettel goes spinning around in a Formula 1 Grand Prix. Let's have a look and see what happened, though. Did I just literally shut the door on Vettel here as we go up the hill in towards the first corner here? And Vettel doesn't really turn. He uses my car as a brake mark aboard. And obviously, as you can see, he's in the grass now. So, clever stuff there from Seb, and that puts him at the back. Looking on board here, so he's got a great run here on Kimi Raikkonen up towards the first corner. And he's coming from such a long way back, and he doesn't even begin to turn and just smashes into my car and spins around. So, I mean, credit to Codemasters for programming Vettel's properly so that he spins all the time, because that's all he does in his life. So, that's good for us. So, yeah. Kind of interesting. Lap 5 of the Grand Prix, though, I wasn't closing up to Gasly or Perez, concerningly enough. So I decided to trigger the undercut and re-close that gap to Gasly and Perez and just see that when I switch to medium tyres, if I've got the advantage comparing to those two. On the soft tyres, just didn't really have it. But normally the medium tyre is like, for me in this game actually, the medium tyre is my favourite tyre out of all of them. Like the hards are terrible. The soft tyres just don't feel great all the time. Yeah, maybe in future I need to start having a look at potentially some engine upgrades with the fuel consumption. So it means that I can start with low fuel loads to keep the car nice and light to then potentially get the soft tyres into gear. That's going to be something for Season 2 though. Like I said, no upgrades now. But as we go towards the S section now, it's about getting the car back up to speed. The problem we've got though is we've got a lot of traffic to get through. Funnily enough, one of them is Sebastian Vettel. What an absolute shock. I have no idea how he possibly could have got down there. Give it to those our first target here, and we've just got so much more speed that we could just get through right there. And from coming into the pits and coming out of the pits, that just shows you there how much time Vettel has lost. There's a lock-up there for someone. I'm not sure who it is. It's going to be Antonio Giovinazzi. I'm surprised he's still in that Alfa Romeo car, considering how well Raikkonen's doing so far. But it's Giovinazzi versus Hulkenberg versus Vettel versus me now as we go towards the hairpin here. And Vettel's got the DRS on Hulkenberg, breezes past him. Now goes for the run on Giovinazzi here. Giovinazzi locks up, and because he locked up, that just opened a slight gap there for me to put it down the inside and make a double overtake on Antonio and also on Sebastian Vettel. So there you go, Seb. If you want to do a dive bomb, or you want to actually overtake without spinning, which is something that you can't seem to do, come to your boy. I'll help you out, man. Your boy is here to save you. But for us, though, let's carry onwards, though. We've got a lot of cars to get through. You can see, though, up towards Turn 1, both Gasly and Sergio Perez have not yet stopped. So for us, I need to clear this track. To be honest, I could have done with some clear air, but unfortunately, I have to deal with traffic. I go down the inside of Lando Norris. I didn't want to dive it down the inside of Charles Leclerc. If it was Turn 1, I'd dive it down the inside of all of them, but it's not. So I'm going to take it one step at a time. DRS now enabled here. And it's going to be an easy move on Charles Leclerc, and also actually on Carlos Sainz there, and a little bit of contact actually between myself and Carlos. Kind of similar to what I did with Seb, but apart from the fact it was a bit less rash on that move. Hamilton, though, is now just passing Lucas Weber in front. So Lucas, after a great qualifying, is now dropping backwards in this race. And we're going to completely mug him off around the outside here. And now we've got to run on Hamilton, and we're going to go down the inside of Lewis there, who's actually got a bit of front wing damage. I just spotted that. The front left end plate is missing off that Mercedes. So he's got some issues there in that car. But next up the road for us is the Haas car of Romain Grosjean. Or should we say the Rich Energy doesn't want to sponsor the team anymore because they're not performing well, lol team. But we do manage to get past Grosjean, not cutting the corner like Verstappen did. We instead had a magnetism glue mode to Grosjean. So again, Max, if you want to make an overtake down the inside into that position, come to your boy. Your boy knows what he's doing. Just don't put me in an actual F1 car because then I'll be in a wall in hospital. So pushing onto lap, I don't know what I'm doing anymore. Lap 9 of the lap 8 even. I can't even get the laps right. Perez has come out in front of us. Annoyingly, he's rejoined in front of Magnussen, in front of the Racing Point, in front of Verstappen, in front of Russell, in front of Albon. So I'm now in a bit of a predicament whereby I have a lot of traffic to pass to get onto the back of Sergio. So Sergio's put that pit stop to complete perfection here, but I'm going to try and set myself up against Albon, dive it down the inside here, just like I did on Hamilton. Nice easy one. Next up is George Russell in the Williams car, and obviously just announced actually Williams and Rokit are, or Rokit, however the hell they pronounce it, have extended their sponsorship deal from 3 to 5 years, which could be more than could be said for Rich Energy because they can't last the deal for 5 months. So yeah, now onto the back straight though. We've passed George Russell quite easily actually, and now we're opening up the DRS here, and I'm sort of covering off George. I thought he was a bit close, and obviously that Williams car can be a bit nippy in a straight line, as we've seen before. Verstappen, though, is getting in trouble here because he's got a lockup in front of him with one of the Haas cars of Grosjean now, and obviously we've got going down the inside, or he went around the outside of Verstappen, go down the inside of Romain Grosjean, go for the next left and right-handers, and then down the inside of Devon Bullsack. So nice succession of corners, and that's Perez just up the road there. Let's see if we can try and close that gap now to Sergio and try and see how we fare on the medium tyres versus Sergio Perez. Gasly comes into the pits though. For us though, it didn't really fare much brilliantly. I mean, we kept the gap sort of relative to Sergio Perez. However, Gasly has now taken the lead of the US Grand Prix. Gasly's gone into soft tyres for this middle stint, so he's doing soft, medium. Me and Perez can't do that. We're doing medium, soft, medium. So Gasly now has got the effective race lead. So my fight is, well, it's still with both of them. They're still in great range of each other. It's all about now, can I actually get the overtakes done on both Perez and also Gasly? Once again, I'm going to go for another undercut. But annoyingly, once again, I'm in traffic, which is a pain in the backside. So Yeah, let's get on with it, though. Raikkonen, you can see there, dives into the pits, so we don't have to worry about him. Now we've got Charles Leclerc and also Verstappen to fight. Annoyingly, there's Perez and Gasly coming out of the pits, still rejoining in front of us, which is just going to drive me nuts. But now we're on the back of Verstappen, in which I'm going to have to overtake him for a second time in this race, because I already overtook him once, and now I need to do it again. So yeah, but weirdly, I thought I would be fighting Verstappen for the lead of this race, but no, I'm fighting Gasly out of all people. But once again, my favourite overtaking spot for some reason, this left-hander. Don't know what it is with that left-hander, but I get such a great run on the initial right-hander, then to swap it to the left-hander just works a treat. I then stuck behind Charles Leclerc for the rest of the lap to see if his pace was actually strong enough for me to just use him as a form of a way to get through everyone. It turns out it was not enough, so I went down inside of Charles Leclerc. I actually outbroke myself again. Charles tries to come back at me on a switchback, but I put that to rest and carry on with my pace now, with a gap around about 3-4 seconds to Sergio Perez. And finally, after 26 laps of not being able to close up to this stupid banana, I've managed to close onto the back of Sergio Perez, and now I can finally fight for second place. Gasly is up the road, and annoyingly as well, I'm closing up to Gasly. Why is it now at the end of the race, I'm closing up to these cars? But yeah, annoyingly though, look who's retired from the race. Norris. Fabulous. That's not what we needed. Rest in peace, Lando. It's alright though, he's probably gone back to the garage now to make a meme about how he retired. For us though, we're now closing onto the back of Sergio Perez, getting ever closer to that Renault car, and it's a simple move down the inside of the Renault car, and that is us now up into second place in the US Grand Prix. 3.3 seconds now is the gap between myself and Pierre Gasly, and onto the final lap of the Grand Prix. Gasly, for some reason, saw that I'd overtaken Perez, clearly got terrified, and just let off a massive amount of horsepower in my dust, because Gasly powers on through, and guys, I'm being genuinely serious. Pierre Gasly has just won a Formula 1 Grand Prix. No, this is not on 0% AI and I'm controlling Gasly. This is his own actual AI. He has just won a Grand Prix. Everyone savor this moment. It's never going to happen in real life. There it is. Pierre Gasly is on the top step of the podium. And quite frankly, actually, it's the weirdest podium and probably the weirdest race weekend ever in a career mode race. You've got Gasly, who's won the race, which is impossible. I finished in second place in a McLaren, which, if you saw from... Well, actually, I had quite good pace, actually, to, credit myself. And Sergio Perez in a Renault car, also on the podium. So... the weirdest podium I think you'll ever see in my career mode. Normally be around like Baku or Monaco, but it's actually here for some reason. And just look at the overall race results. You've got myself that won, Gasly won, ahead of myself, Perez, Charles Leclerc, I think, Verstappen, Bottas, Raikkonen in there, Hamilton, Lucas Weber, Magnussen. Vettel didn't even score a point today, which is quite weird. In the Drivers' Championship, though, that does mean that the championship is still alive for Lewis Hamilton. As Vettel didn't score any points because for some reason he hit somebody and spun right round, baby, like a record right round. He is now, he needs 2 points to secure the World Championship. Ferrari, 92 points clear in the Constructors.
Out there today. Let's have your thoughts. Lucas flew through the pack in that race. What's his secret?
I don't really care about Lucas, so yeah.
You really looked in control of your car out there. Your team must be thrilled.
That left one clearly is what Lewis Hamilton would answer with.
Do you think your rival learned from his battle with you?
No. He needs to stay out my way. Oh, of course I'd be a sportsmanship.
It was more like Dodgems than Formula 1 today, wasn't it?
From what I remember, we're playing F1.
Appreciate your time.
I did hit some cars though, but pass away from that. That is it then for this episode of my F1 2019 career modes here for the US Grand Prix. We do manage to beat Lando Norris in the rivalry, which is fantastic for us. We've also got ahead now of the rivalry with Max Verstappen, which is again great stuff for us. So we're looking in very, very good shape heading onwards into the next Grand Prix, which is going to be in Brazil. I'm really looking forward to that one. Should be a bit of fun. Up to 3,400 resource points now. We're really racking up the resource points there as Emma basically tells me that I'm the greatest human being of all time. Some interview transcripts with Lucas Weber and also Devin Bulsack there. This one sort of parted me off a bit. Seems to enjoy yourself on the top of the podium. I don't know. I don't think it really suited them, to be honest. They deserve being up there, but I don't think they have the qualities of a real winner. Wait till I'm up there. You won't ever want me to come back down. Devon? Right, okay. My channel doesn't even know you by your own surname. My channel knows you as Devon Ballsack. If you need me to come up with another nickname for you, I will do, okay? So, from now on, you're no longer called Devon Ballsack, you're called Dickon Ballsack, okay? So have some of that. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.